still goes back to these people can't interpret frickin' the Indus Valley civilization's texts or understand their language yet. So that kind of doesn't make sense, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of a rash statement to be saying. It's kind of premature, considering they first have to figure out what it was that the Indus Valley spoke and be able to interpret them, you know. So recent geophysical research suggests that unlike the Sarasvati described in the Rigveda as a snow-fed river, the Gagar was a system of perennial monsoon-fed rivers, which became seasonal around the time that the civilization diminished, approximately 4,000 years ago. Alright, so this brings me into the issue about them having to be dispersed. Okay, this civilization had to be dispersed because of lack of water that had happened over time, and then you hear what I just mentioned too about the Rigveda, and how could they be able to really interpret what was going on there, you know, when they don't have the information to really back those claims up, because they can't interpret the freaking text, and they can't interpret the language, you know what I mean? So they really have nothing backed up. And the Indus civilization had to migrate out, according to their research, to the east, and it was because of lack of water and frickin' well, basically, you know, global warming, I guess, if you want to call it, which was regional in that area. You also see this in the Fertile Crescent. Now, right there, since we were talking about the Sumerians, right there where the Sumerians were, and eventually the Babylonians and Assyria, all the way up to the Levant, this was referred to as the Fertile Crescent. And in this region, it was a fertile crescent, you know. They have stories of wild lions that used to run loose in the Fertile Crescent, which used to run wild within this region, and kings used to hunt them and take freaking and have them sculpted onto freaking concrete, so that frickin' it would be shown how great of a hunter these kings were. Then you had the cedars of Lebanon, you know, which everyone in the known world back then would travel to just so they could get this lumber, so that they could build with it. Now they're all gone. You take a look at you take a look now at the Indus Valley, and the Indus Valley apparently went through that same kind of situation, causing the Indus Valley, or the Indus civilization, to migrate eastward or wherever they went. All right. When this happened, anything could have happened. These people could have ended up in frickin' America. These people could have ended up in India. They could have ended up in Mongolia. They could have ended up in all of those places altogether, or maybe they went to one of them. I don't know, you know, but that could have been the case. Now, even though that's a good topic, I want to get focused on this same thing that happened there, that happened in the Middle East, about everything turning to desert and drying up. Now, there's a deity within the Hindu religion, and this deity is known as Surya. Now, Surya is the sun god as well as the solar deity in Hinduism. Now, he is traditionally one of the major 5 deities of the Smarta tradition, all of whom are considered as equivalent deities in the Panchayatana Puja, and a means to release Brahma or Brahman, okay? And other names of the Surya in ancient Indian literature include Aditya, Arka, Brahma or Brahnu, Savitar, Pushan, Ravi, Murtanda, Mitra, Mitra. And Mitra is interesting to me because I've also done research with Mithra, and I'm not talking about Mithras from Rome. I'm talking about Mithra from the Urartu civilizations and things of that nature. And then you have the Bhaskara, the Prabhakara, Kathiravan, and the Vivasvan. Now, these are all words I'm not really good with. I'm sorry if I messed them up. But those are the names that this deity went by. Now, Surya is the one that I'm going to go with because it's the easiest one to say. And the reason why I bring this deity up is because this deity had control over a Brahmastra, and a Brahmastra was these weapons that were supposed to be used by the gods, and certain deities would have a Brahmastra weapon which they could use, and this deity was one who possessed a Brahmastra. So with that, I'm gonna continue on. Now, the iconography of Surya is often depicted riding a chariot harnessed by a horse, often 7 in number, which represent the 7 colors of visible light in the 7 days of the week. During the medieval period, Surya was worshipped in tandem with Brahma during the day, Shiva at noon, and Vishnu in the evening. In some ancient texts and art, Surya is represented syncretically with Indra, Ganesha, and others. Surya as a deity is also found in the arts and literature of Buddhism and Jainism. In the Mahabharata, in the Ramayana, Surya is represented as the spiritual father of Rama and Karna, protagonist of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, respectively. Surya was a primary deity in veneration by the characters of the Mahabharata in the Ramayana, along with Shiva. Now, Shiva is also a very interesting character. I do want to talk about her later on in Everything About Aliens, because Shiva has this really, really weird connection with the Naga. She wears a Naga on her neck, or him, whichever one, but Shiva wears a Naga on his or her neck, and also sleeps on a bed that is a Naga. So that is something that's interesting that I do want to come back to later on. Now, Surya is depicted with the chakra, also interpreted as Dharma chakra. Surya is the lord of Simha, which is Leo. Now, that is one of the 12 constellations in the zodiac system of Hindu astrology. Surya, or Ravi, is the basis of Ravivara, or Sunday, in the Hindu calendar. Now, major festivals and pilgrimages in reverence of Surya include Makar, Sankranti, Pongal, Samba Dashami, Ratha Septami, Chath or Kath Puja, whichever way that's pronounced, and Kumbh Mela. He is particularly venerated in the Saura and Smarta traditions found in Indian states such as Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, and then Uttar, and then Pradesh, and then Jharkhand, and Odisha. I really wish I was better at these words. I'm sorry if I am tearing them up, guys. I apologize, like I said before. Now, having survived as a primary deity in Hinduism longer than most of the original Vedic deities, the worship of Surya declined greatly around the 13th century, perhaps as a result of the Muslim destruction of sun temples in North India. Now, new sun temples virtually ceased to be built, and some were later repurposed to a different deity, which was common in it was common in other cultures too. I'm really amazed with the freaking the Great Pyramid, to be honest, because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of that shit on the Great Pyramid was taken away and repurposed for other things, and it's still there, so you're not looking at the full, complete freaking pyramid. You're actually looking at what was left after everybody took the shit they wanted, you know what I mean? So that right there is just one thing about the Great Pyramid that is so amazing, besides the fact of how big it is and freaking the mystery behind it. But like, people were actually stealing shit off the side of it, and it's still there, that's pretty cool. So now when like I said, they were repurposing the temples and everything for other places of worship and everything. So they were taking these temples and they were repurposing them. Now, a number of important Surya temples remain, but most are no longer in worship. In certain aspects, Surya was tended to be merged with the prominent deity of Vishnu or Shiva, or seen as subsidiary to them. Now, that's who this deity is. Okay, now he is no longer worshipped, but it's Surya.